fuck it. I mean,
Let's go.
you know. Okay, so here we are once again on the precipice of the end of an era and a new one to begin. Right before AEW Dynamite's anniversary, for your anniversary. Because what have we seen lately? We saw the M1 conclude with Go Shiakyu winning it for the first time ever pro wrestling Noah, but falling short to Jake Lee. We see the development of NJPW and the turn of a heel master joining the House of Torture, where just 5 guys became 4, and now Show is the KOPW champion. We are seeing Will Ospreay. Summer is over, but the fall is just starting at the incredible defense against Yosuji, and now he's got 1, 2, 3 different matches across 3 different companies, across 3 different pay-per-views. WWE continues to spin their gears. And AEW just left us with a lot more to think about, too. And Stardom is right now approaching the end of the Firestarter Grand Prix. I'm still holding out for Micah. And we just got through the 1000th episode of Impact Wrestling. And Ring of Honor looks like Billy Starks. You still have to go through Minion Trade, but it looks like Lexi Nair, Graduate, Flying Colors, too. Why do I say all these things? Because once again, we are here to discuss, simply put, all things wrestling for We Are ATW. Hello, everybody. Welcome once again to our simple ATW VIEW Impromptu. You know what this is. I'm the simple man of the simple brand, the voice of the JMN, but also a proud member of this family. There are no leaders. There are just equals. And we are forever all elite and forever bound by all things wrestling. My name is Noah Fuzz, forever grateful for pro wrestling. And once again, I'm here with the KING king of all elite wrestling. Damn it, but I digress. We prepare for WrestleDream. King, what do you want to talk about?
What should we talk about to start off this impromptu? Oh my! What a lot that's been going on within the last time we've done this, and plus most heavily the news coming out of this week. I'll save the WrestleDream stuff at the media call for the end. Let's just dip right into, well, WWE, as basically they got who they wanted since her contract expired. They got her. They got Jade Cargill. Yes, folks, Jade Cargill is now officially a WWE superstar. I wish her all the best. I wish her good luck. And normally, when it was first announced, she got the ESPN treatment. Normally, WWE superstars don't get that type of treatment. Period. It don't matter if you got to be a mega star. You got to be a Cena. You got to be a Lesnar. You got to be a Roman to reach that level of ESPN height, or even Bianca for that matter, or even Charlotte. But Jade, first day, getting the ESPN treatment. They better book her correctly, because you don't just give her that ESPN treatment right off the bat like that, unless you have big, I'm talking big plans for her. She did what she did at AEW, the longest and first inaugural TBS champ. Her career started in March of 2021 in that mixed tag with Cody and Red Velvet, with her partner being NBA legend Shaquille O'Neal.
Let that sit in for a moment. This will be brought into our screens into a wrestling ring, accompanied by Shaquille O'Neal.
And we've seen this woman evolve and grow, and even had the mentorship and the training underneath the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, to train her and watch her and basically develop her into a better wrestler. For what Bryan did, for what he did, it's just basically, I mean, after Jade had that TBS championship reign, and then it was like, what else do you have for her left to do? Honestly, I thought Tony was going to strap her to the moon and give her another push, but this time in the main event scene.
Yep.
Turns out it wasn't the case. It turns out WWE Nick Khan got her, and basically they're going to treat this as in, we're going to capitalize on what we can do on a bigger platform, because let's be real, folks. Yes, we love AEW. We respect AEW and professional wrestling. But when it comes down to major platforms, when it comes down to major top dog level of promotions, nothing can beat the WWE machine. Nothing.
Nope.
It doesn't matter what promotion you are. It doesn't matter what superstar you are. If you still have that dream to go in WWE, go and soon be it. If you that right person that WWE wants. And in this case, it's all over social media from the day it was announced yesterday. WWE has been wanting Jade for quite some time, and they treating her like rolling out the red carpet for her like she's a Hollywood movie star. They better book her correctly. I wish her luck and respect. And thank you, Jade, for your time in AEW.
First off, congrats to that bitch. And I did read a little bit on it. I want to give a shout, of course, as always, to the entire ATW family, including not limited to Preacher Man, Casey Flynn, who still believes Dakota Kai will one day be WWE Women's Champion and will be in the main event of WrestleMania. But I digress. Of course, I want to give a shout out to our newest ringside correspondent, backstage viewer, ring announcer, of course, Sienna Chanel. Cindy, congrats on your success in South Bay Championship Wrestling. Please follow her, follow her on Twitter and also Twitch. Our queen, Megan Chiba, aka Mary J, who continues to prove that Jade is worth more than gold. Party man, Jade the Ultra, gotta appreciate him. Rest inside Peter Casey Gallagher, our enforcer Lex, who of course is working, gaming, and still wrestling. And of course, still fine-tuning his arts, also in Japan. Good luck against Julia, by the way. That's a long holdout, bro. Just saying. And of course, the entire WFF could go on all night, but we were here all night too. And of course, our inquirer, the better of all things news. Please follow me into the Wrestleverse at New Reality Entertainment on all your social media platforms, folks. Eric Brown. Eric, take care again. Shout out to the entire family. We are ATW, then, now, forever. Okay, so yeah, let's go ahead and talk more a little bit about this. I think that was a great summary to the exponential growth journey and evolution, because at the end of the day, Jade Cargill said this was always the end game. And more so, that had heavily to do with the fact that she was heavily guided and influenced by one former WWE superstar, now once again WWE superstar, and a weekly mainstay on WWE product, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. You already talked about the step. You will talk about yourself, the status quo, the scope, the company, the presentation. We will always question WWE when it comes to one thing: booking. But Triple H said best during a press conference: nobody, and I mean nobody, does it like them. They are the mainstay, and they've been the mainstay now for over 5+ decades. As me and JJ starts our journey to WrestleMania 40. Stay tuned for more of that on Casa D18 Studios. But what I love here is the fact of the matter of that people, smart people, wise people, simple, kind people, can get behind a fellow worker for the progression in the choice of their journey and what they wish to challenge. So for Jade Cargill to go from originally being homegrown in AEW to now challenging herself onto the stage of the Immortals in life that you hope you see her against Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Charlotte Flair, and already working in the PC with the prodigy Roxanne Perez, also a Texas native, by the way, represent. I think it's a beautiful thing. What's important is people need to realize nobody in wrestling is defined by one company, nor should you think they should be. It shouldn't be just simply how you look at them from how the beginnings. If you truly support a talent, then follow wherever they go. But if you actually care about this business, love, appreciate, support, and respect growth. If growth doesn't happen through one umbrella, but has a chance to happen through another, that's all we should care about. We should wish nothing but continued success for anybody. And Jade Cargill is something special, absolutely special. She has the physique, dear God. She has the marketability, she has the power, and she has the hunger. And she clearly has the passion. There's no reason why she would happily pass off to Chris Statlander what she started, where she hoped to, like you said, maybe contend with the likes of Darby DMD or Hikaru Ishida, or even Saraya for that matter, for the Women's World Championship. Now she has a chance, though, to be part of the grandest stage of them all, WrestleMania, if not even the Royal Rumble. We just have to wish her the absolute best in her booking and show respect to that bitch. But I truly do appreciate everything Jade Cargill showed us, and I can't wait to see what's next for her. Congratulations on her making it to the WWE. It's one thing to make it. It's another thing to hold it. We'll have to see what happens, but do not assume and do not disregard or disrespect her choice in the matter too. Respect that bitch. And yeah, again, for Jade Cargill, it's also a very unique first because she is a true day zero in this industry to a degree. Homegrown AEW original to go to WWE. We saw a homegrown WWE talent in Naomi go away from WWE and go to Impact Wrestling and once again find her glow as Trinity. And she became the Knockouts World Champion in quick fashion, being the virtuosa, the leader, the face of Knockouts division for the last 3 years. Long may she reign. So the fact of the matter that we now have a true AEW original going to WWE, it does make you wonder, though, could we see the same thing in a different capacity? What if a true homegrown original big marquee WWE name with no prior history besides WWE go to AEW and redefine themselves? Because at the end of the day, everything is pro wrestling, but WWE is truly, truly the home showcase of what they always call and hone as sports entertainment. Is there more to come? And with the other names we've heard them think about and be interested in, Wardlow is another one. And I know you'll talk about that when we talk about the media call. But also, as my friend Sydney follows this NXT, still going to say it though, because I am black and gold for life, not my NXT! And I'm so damn glad it's better than it used to be, especially under that ridiculous, tired, overplayed Rainbow Skittle ass bullshit. But I digress. Excuse me. I do wonder though, as Cindy did share, a vignette for one loose cannon will soon take center stage on the white and gold. Brian Pillman Jr. In fact, he might literally be in action this Saturday at No Mercy. Details are still sketchy on that as well. But again, it should not surprise anybody in this industry, as a fan especially, to see somebody, a simple human being, a worker, not literally exist under one company only in their career, whether they began in it or whether they choose to work in it. That's not for us to discredit. So I am very curious. And again, what are they going to mark her as? I know there's been rumors about what name they might turn her into. But again, with the trainings of the likes of Matt Bloom, Sarah Del Rey, so many incredible minds to pick from, including Shawn Michaels and Triple H. The sky is truly the limit to Jade Cargill and where she grows from here in this industry as one of the biggest superstars in this century. I think she has that much potential. I truly do. In fact, I'm going to put it out there. She might be the BITCH to surpass what's already been set by the EST.
Ooh, I've been seeing a lot of that as of here. When it was first announced, I've been seeing a lot of that. But first, let's get her trained up first to get developed in the WWE system before we can just talk about and manifest a Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill WrestleMania, whatever number main event, which no doubt that would tear the roof off whatever building they're going to be at, whatever stadium they're going to be at.
You know they only do stadiums. With that being said, why don't we go ahead and slowly talk about that? The reason why I also picked this background, of course, and JJ even said himself being a former worker, even if people believe they don't want to or they don't say it out loud, there is no bigger goal in this industry than WrestleMania. It truly is the biggest showcase for anybody in the wrestling industry. No matter what spot you are on, no matter where you're at, but you want to be the main event, if not the winner of it, Cody, but I digress. There's no doubt in my mind this is where everybody truly wants to find themselves at one point, if not the end of their career. Will it happen as soon as WrestleMania 40 for Jade Cargill particularly? Wait and see. That's all I got to say. I think sooner than later she will be first in a Royal Rumble. Could be as soon as next year. I don't see her being skyrocketed to the moon. WrestleMania just yet. Potential's there, but like you said, grow, hone your craft because you have an absolutely incredible amount of talent and trainers and minds to truly shape yourself. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about WWE and when it comes to their showcasing. You brought up a key word there. We talked about this on Open Mic Night, so I'd love to get your take on it. WWE and Triple H's original vision for our black and gold NXT. Global localization. When it comes to WWE as of late, almost every event this year, I think except Payback, has been on a stadium level front and more so internationally. Let's think about this. Besides the Royal Rumble and I believe WrestleMania, every stadium level show has taken place outside the country. And as we know, next year, they're going to the land down under for the Elimination Chamber. And the Royal Rumble so far still remains on U.S. soil. But they've been to Saudi Arabia. They've been to the UK. They've friggin' been up to Canada, which again, not quite international, but you get the idea. They've been to Puerto Rico. They've done everything possible to book almost every show, even B+ by name, in a stadium. Hell, I went to SummerSlam. That was in Ford Field in front of 60,000 plus people. Even if the Roman Reigns and Jey Uso thing was a friggin', part of a church. Yeah, we'll talk more about that later. But this whole idea of globalization and stadium booking, if WWE continues this focus on only booking in stadiums for all 12, because let's be honest here, they do 12 events a year minimum, with NXT trying to become a third brand, might become more. Lord help us. We'll talk more about NXT here a little later when it comes to the upcoming PLE. It does make me wonder, though, this whole idea of globalization. Will AEW follow suit, or did AEW encourage this more? Because AEW, of course, they went to Wembley Stadium, and they now hone the biggest event in wrestling history. There's no denying that. So this whole idea of just stadium showcasing, does that affect the smaller market venues, like the little, sports arenas per se, like the United Center in Chicago being booked into oblivion, which does need to stop? Or does that maybe be more potential opportunity for AEW to explore these type of venues here, where WWE might leave them? Like, we look at the scope of booking in 2023 and 2024. It looks like WWE only wants to try and focus on more of a international stadium scale front. Is that the best approach, though? I think at the end of the day, and should AEW try to follow suit? And I know we'll talk more about that when it comes to what could be the pay-per-view cycle. What's been your thoughts, Lee, with the WWE global organization strategy, King? International stadium-level booking for almost everything.
Like, it's like they're taking this with a whole different approach, because most of the pay-per-views that we've accustomed to before the Triple H, era took over, always been here in the States. No matter what state, it's always been here in the States. They never took in a pay-per-view outside of like the country, unless it's like a Super Showdown, Crown Jewel, or Elimination Chamber that one year when they went to Saudi Arabia for that, which I don't want to forget about.
Let's not talk about that. I think we're better off that way. That show was.
But it's like now they're going more global than ever, which of course it's World Wrestling Entertainment. I mean, it's who they are. They travel the world. They've done all this. They've been almost everywhere almost. But it's like they're now taking it more head on than so. And it's like, I feel happy for the international people that have been starving for WWE events and give us a break a little bit, because when you think about it, we're so accustomed to having WWE pay-per-views and PLEs, or however you want to call them, here in the States 99.9% of the time, while international people only get the 0.1%.
Right.
So, like, that's why I feel happy for all the international fans who watch the product. Like, as long as it gives the international wrestling fan base more wrestling content for them to basically drive up your numbers. Because I heard about your stock, and your stock ain't looking so good right now. This is the merger completed, but we'll talk more about that. But
in a little bit, yeah.
So if that helps that stock number or whatever by going international, so be it. I don't have a problem with it. That'll get AEW to explore more NBA or college. Well, actually, no, more NBA based stadiums like the arenas, like the United Center, like just the one I think they announced. I forgot what month it is, but they're doing from Portland and the Moda Center. That's home of the Trailblazers. I feel like that'll give AEW more lineage to do like NBA arenas or college basketball arenas or what so forth. Because these, don't get me wrong, I like the smaller buildings, but I feel like AEW should expand that and go bigger buildings. Like, and can we please stop giving Chicago all the spoiledness? I get it. You want to make Chicago
God.
a wrestling tradition when it comes to September and with All Out. I get that. You want to make it a wrestling tradition. I get that. I wholeheartedly 100% respect that. But sometimes traditions are meant to be broken.
Ain't that the truth? Just look at WWE. Look at what they booked so far. This doesn't include SummerSlam Payback or what's to come.
So if traditions are meant to be broken, Tony can do the same. That's why I mean, last time I checked, I thought that's what Jeff Jarrett is there for when he's not in a wrestling role. Just saying. But as far as WWE's aspect, doesn't affect it at all. WWE is still going to be WWE. They're going to get their numbers business-wise regardless. Whether that be internationally, whether that be a big stadium.
Domestically.
Regardless, they're going to get their numbers. This WWE still going to be WWE.
Yeah. At the end of the day, WWE's not going to change their philosophy, especially when they're literally hand over fist making more money than ever, even if the revenue streams aren't there particularly from the networks. As we heard, USA is leaving Fox and is going, SmackDown is leaving Fox, botch, and is going to USA. You might as well say at this point, USA owns the WWE. NBC owns the WWE, even though they have merged now with the freaking UFC under this TKO venture. And of course, we saw who that affected. So this whole idea again of changing the landscape and reshaping and focusing on a different strategy of a massive scale. Yeah, I think WWE could definitely maintain it. I just think it might be a little bit more crazy to book more international based shows when it affects us here in the States as far as how we follow it. The thing about WWE, though, they don't focus only on necessarily one market and their attention. They try to include every freaking possible part of the world possible, and I feel it does sometimes diminish it. I mean, again, freaking Elimination Chamber, if you want to watch it here in the States, literally will take place New Japan Pro Wrestling show time at freaking 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Which, if y'all watch New Japan, like I occasionally do, or Noah does all the time, you should be used to it. So, like,
but not everybody's a fan of New Japan Pro Wrestling, and that's
that too.
Again, to the casual dude, we are in the States. People are either working or preparing to go to school or sleeping.
Yeah. That is the truth.
Yeah, at the end of the day, WWE is still heavily focused domestically here, and they still are the bigger player. Again, people talk about AEW, it's unable to even sell these type of arenas, but to focus more on these type of arenas, if WWE puts less of a focus on them, then I think it could help with AEW's scope. And we talk about oversaturating a market. Chicago might as well be blocked from a market. Apologies, Christine, but seriously, you guys are getting overkill with everything. Literally, at this point, Chicago should just fight for which one they want the most and go with that. There's a more bidding war to book Chicago than I think this so-called bidding war 2024. But it is interesting looking at WWE only focusing on stadium-level shows for all the pay-per-view, PLEs, and practically focusing on all of them internationally. It makes you wonder how much will stay here locally besides WrestleMania. But if you got John Cena at the forefront, he very well might be the guy that makes the WrestleMania happen in the freaking United Kingdom, which I do think they deserve.
Which that won't happen until possibly their bidding chance to get a WrestleMania is WrestleMania 2020, I think 6 or 7 is when London will get their bidding chance to have a WrestleMania.
Right. But as we know, AEW already cornered Wembley Stadium. They can't take that because AEW has already given us another all-in next year. Can this and it's the same thing in entertainment. Can the sequel match up or surpass the pilot, the original? They set the bar. Can they surpass it? Can they maintain it? That remains to be seen. That being said, again, there's still so much we can talk about here. Let's just go ahead and shoot the breeze a little bit on Impact Wrestling. Again, Impact Wrestling, no stranger to the industry. Of course, they most recently celebrated the 1,000th episode these last 2 weeks. And we didn't get Alex Shelley trimming up for the world title. We got trimming up as Josh Alexander, which led to Alex Shelley and Josh Alexander 2 being made official for Bound for Glory. Speaking of Bound for Glory, stay tuned for that, of course, and this and more on Cindy Predicting. As we learned, Bound for Glory will include Will Ospreay showing up for the first time ever Impact Wrestling. It will be Josh Alexander in the challenger position, taking on Alex Shelley for the Impact World Championship. And not to go too far ahead, Impact 1000, my friend, the company we thought that wouldn't see episode 100. The company we thought was dead in the waters and doomed to purgatory in 2010. Why the fuck they brought out that Bound for Glory last night for TNA Tuesdays beyond me?
Yeah, why? Why?
That Simon Miller, why? I know you're not seeing it. Why? But I digress. Someone can clip that. But anyway, Impact 1000 recultivated under a brighter umbrella than ever before, under the likes of Scott D'Amore, Gail Kim, and the originals that literally carried the banner and are still here with it, like Fergus Aaron, like the Mercy Machine Guns. I loved Impact 1000 for everything it brought, including Shark Boy, yeah, and America's Most Wanted and Team Canada. Never thought I'd see those two on the same page. Taking out the design, which was very unique. Team 3D, Devon's Love Note, might as well be his last match ever in professional wrestling, coming off and doing this after back surgery of all things, might I add. Tracy Brooks, the OG, going into the Impact Hall of Fame with the voices of TNA, Mike Tenay and Dom West. Congratulations to her. Ultimate X saw Allin Angels ascend, but there cannot be enough said for what the fucking knockouts brought us during those 2 weeks. Particularly that knockouts 10-person summit. That was so damn good. And Awesome Kong, I hope that you truly got what you wanted, because I feel like that was the closure you needed, because I saw the emotion after that implant buster, and man, was that star-studded. But I did notice one thing after that match. Mickey J is looking formerly on high at her former WWE superstar compadre, holding the Knockouts World Prize that she never lost but had to relinquish. But that being said, Jordan Grace is also back, and since Deanna Purrazzo is no longer champion, she can come back and challenge for it. And since she beat her rival for the first time ever, she now has full open doors to try and become truly the face of the Knockouts division. Although still, in my opinion, there is only one face, and that is the virtuosa, long may she reign, for there's only one Deanna Purrazzo, then now and forever. But I love the Pack 1000, despite the outcome of
yeah. Oh, if you're not going to talk about it, King is going to talk about it. The fact that Joya is no more.
I'm this close to cutting you off this fucking feed. I swear to God. Get it, drink. Ruin Southern Bevel before it began. God bless it. Anyway, but yeah, that being said, and Moose now with another World Championship opportunity. Oh boy. King, boy. Your thoughts on Impact 1000 and the absolute evolution and transcending of the leading women's division on the Western Front, the Knockouts division.
I started watching this company back in 2005. I was mostly WWE, and basically I didn't watch anything else but WWE. Of course, it was the only thing that's still going, in my opinion, at the time. Then I flipped on to a certain channel on Spike TV. And it was basically right there. I see on my nerd TV, it was TNA Impact Wrestling. And then my first glance, I was like, who's this guy? Who's this guy? Who's this guy? Who's this guy? But then I saw a few big names, like the likes of Kurt Angle, the likes of, who else I could think of? Christian Cage, the likes of Kevin Nash, the likes of Sky Hall. The list goes on and on when it comes to big names. RIP, by the way, the bad guy. But I've watched this company go from its ups to its downs, and like you said, the 2010s. I can't believe what was we doing about the Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff thing. But
the less we talk about that, the better off we are.
That was embarrassing. And then, you know, of course, under the TNA name got dropped, and an Impact was basically still there. And we saw some names that come through this era of Impact Wrestling, like the Good Brothers, like Jonathan Gresham, like Mike Bailey, and so forth and so forth. I can go on with the list of names.
Oh yeah.
But above all, and I may not watch it as often, but this was the one episode on both nights I had to watch because, of course, I used to watch this company heavily. And that 1,000 episode on both nights did not disappoint me at all. Especially the knockouts. The knockouts is, I don't care. As much as I love my NXT Black and Gold Women's Division, and as much as you do too, nothing, and I mean nothing, will top the Impact Knockouts division. They were the forefront. They were the mainstay. They knew at that time, and still to this day, on how to put on women's wrestling where it matters most for wrestling fans.
Damn it.
Like the likes of Awesome Kong. You can go back and watch the likes of their rivalry of Awesome Kong and Gail Kim. You can go watch the Beautiful People with them. If anything.
King, compose yourself.
No, I was just going to say that the Beautiful People inspired the Bella Twins. What was you think I was going to say?
All right, continue.
Okay. Anyways, and of course, then we also had the likes of Tara. Don't forget about when Jordan Grace mentioned the promo. We had Tara.
Black Widow, God.
Who else? ODB. Let's not forget about ODB.
I had to do it.
Who else? Who else?
Wild, Sarita, the list goes on and on. Brooke Tessmacher, the current champ in WWE, formerly Jade. Taryn Terrell.
Madison Rain, now in AEW as a coach. We also had Jade, now known as Mia Yim. There's a list of that as well. But, of course, I didn't know I was going to get my, like I mentioned, I didn't know I was going to get my cherry on top of the cake of this 1,000 episode when I seen Joya disbanded. Oh, Scott D'Amore knows how to treat me right whenever I come back to Impact Wrestling to watch. Dang, is he good. He's so good. But in all, nonetheless, Yuya, thank you. And I wish you back from your excursion back on to New Japan. Now Joe ain't got no one.
I still believe in Joe Henry. At least he's still part of it.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Maybe he could get back the Digital Media Championship if Crazy Steve falls short for it. I still can't believe Tommy Dreamer won the champion. I still can't believe that.
Yeah, I can't believe that neither. Like Tommy Dreamer winning the Digital Media Championship. What year is this?
2023, with the big old card's been burned to oblivion, but I digress. And again, like I said, you talked about the knockouts that started. Gail Kim and Awesome Khan. You look at the knockouts and how they transcended in the rivalry that is Jordan Grace, Deonna Purrazzo. They might as well fight forever. It truly was something incredible, and I look very forward to Impact Headley 1002. I'm calling it 1001 because it's truly the episode after 1000, as we are now bound on the road to Bound for Glory. So again, congratulations to Impact Wrestling. As we look at other things in wrestling here that happened most recently, before we get into, of course, our main event, which will be WrestleDream. As I said during our prelude and our ATW watch party for All Elite Wrestling Dynamite, as we do on a weekly basis, but I'm not calling it for the Jam Man 2. We, of course, had the M1 victory conclude, where Go Shiaki won that for the first of his career, former 5-time GH heavyweight champion, but fell short to Jake Lee, a good-looking guy. So GLD still holds the prize, but Kino wants the titles, and was probably if they try and book him for the New Year's show or prior to year's end. The continuing dramatic relationship in the sisters becoming reunited once again in Stardom with Julia and Susan Suzuki, crazy girl indeed, still continues to unfold. And I do wonder if she's going to join Donna Del Mundo. Utami Hayashita is out on a hernia surgery. She is out indefinitely. So on behalf of the AW family, we wish the Queen of Roses and leader of Queen's Quest the best and hope that she comes back soon. And the 5-star Grand Prix continues to unfold, and our winner is yet to be determined as well, but has given us absolute endless amounts of classic banger matches, as expected, including the fact that Tanda Kyle still cannot beat Mayu Iwatani. She never will. I'm just going to put it out there. She never will. And, of course, Mike, she's my holdout to win the 5-star Grand Prix. I think that she deserves it. And as we also saw New Japan Pro Wrestling as the Destruction Tour unfolds, we saw Ryogoku, Yoshinobu Kawamura with the betrayal of the century as just 5 became 4, and he joined the HLT and allowed Show to win JOPW. Well, that title's absolutely worthless now. And we still have yet to see how things unfold in the final stop. With also that distraction, we saw Will Ospreay go one-on-one against Yota Tsuji. Hell of a match. Defending the IWGP United Kingdom Championship as his Summer of Ospreay, the Summer of Ospreay concluded, and now we enter the Fall of Ospreay, where he'll be involved in 3 pay-per-views across a single month, across 3 different companies too. Jesus Christ. And again, at this point, Will Ospreay says he is the best wrestler in the world, and until you beat him for that title, you are then the best wrestler. You are only less than me until otherwise. And so we'll see what happens there. Last week, we saw in Opera Ash Stadium, Grand Slam, AW Diamond Grand Slam, hit a Grand Slam once again. Eddie Kingston not only found respect, but beat his rival 18 years, it seemed. And how far he'd grown, he shook the man's hand and won the title. He held to the likes of Loki Hernandez and Xavier, RIP. Now the Ring of Honor World Championship and NJPW Strong Championship. 1 year ago, Saraya debuted at Grand Slam, came in as champion, semi-defended against Tony Storm. And I do wonder now what's next for the leading actress. I still cannot believe I called that shit. And MJF, after 7 years of being looked at as a kid, the kid's full grown and prudent, got Samoa respect to defend the AW World Championship, but it did come with a price towards his muchacho for life, as we'll talk about here shortly. And that's just some of the other things that are happening so far in all things wrestling as we prepare for this coming weekend, where we will have Braun Breaker taking on Baron Corbin as NXT presents No Mercy. And Becky Lynch, yes, you heard me right. Becky Lynch defends the NXT Women's Championship against Cindy Stratton in Extreme Rules. And Carmelo Hayes defends the NXT Championship against Ilya Dragunov too. And we will see if Ilya Dragunov's destiny is finally claimed, or does he fall short again? Damn it. But I digress. Again, a lot of things happening right now in the industry, Kings. But before we get into AEW, anything you want to say regarding anything else in all things wrestling?
When you mentioned Becky Lynch, I can't help but the fact of why they put the title on her. But when my simpler mind has calmed down, I understand why. With that meaning of, like I said, and I've alluded to this in our watch-alongs, and I'm alluded to it here now.
Go for it.
Nick Khan is trying to make NXT once again a third brand, especially underneath the WWE UFC merger with TKO. I mean, how do you think that Dom is still holding the NXT North American Championship? How do you think Becky is still? Yeah, I know it's still a thing. I can't believe it either. How do you think Becky Lynch is now a Grand Slam champion now? Because Nick Khan wants to make this a third brand once more, and it got me thinking. I'm just like, as a business perspective, that is smart, but as a fan perspective, why? Like, why drop on Tiffany Stratton? Like, I thought this was supposed to be developmental, not bring your main stars down here and then we're going to take half your titles and put them on main roster stars. But from a business perspective, smart. From a fan's perspective, that's not smart. Because this is going to lead me to getting Tiffany basically beating Becky again. Well, not beating Becky again, but getting her title back from Becky at NXT No Mercy. But speaking of NXT No Mercy, which you was alluded to, there was one match that was missing, but of course it's no longer advertised. I mentioned Dirty Dom earlier. We were supposed to get Mustafa Ali and Dirty Dominic. Yeah.
Why don't you go ahead and give your thoughts on what was the Open Mic Night main event last week? And folks, if you haven't tuned in, please check out the Renegade Wrestling JJ Wentz, as he hosts the weekly Saturday Night Shenanigans that are Open Mic Night. As we went fully in on the topic of everybody affected by, I got 2 words for you: budget cuts. Give your thoughts on all that.
Before we dip our toes into the main event of our impromptu, man, me, Eric, and I think Lex, we've kept you guys informed in the chat.
Yes, you
My
did.
thoughts on this is simple as this. I knew it was coming. I knew it. As soon as this merger gets completed, most of the people thought it was just going to be stacked. Oh, no. No.
No.
This one, they took a different approach. Meaning, if you are not getting booked on TV consistently, or they don't how shall I put it? If you're not getting booked on TV consistently, or they don't value as much now that the merger has been completed, adios. Top dollar. Once again, you catching backstage heat again? Twice. Adios. Mustafa Ali, the world. The sky's the limit for you, dude. Like, Impact could take you, New Japan could take you, AEW Ring of Honor could take you, MLW could take you. You will find your booking easily. No doubt about it. Shelton Benjamin. This is twice now. Twice for Shelton.
Did I mention how much I think he is still criminally under fucking rated?
He's still underrated to this day, dude. He still hasn't had not even one shot, I don't think, at a world championship since his time being in the WWE. Both runs.
Nope.
Like, you paired him with Gable, that was cool, and then you sort of revitalized his career with the Hurt Business, which I don't know why you wanted to end the Hurt Business in the first place. If I'm being brutally honest, that was the only one of the main reasons why I started watching WWE. Like, that was because of the Hurt Business, of how impactful the Hurt Business was underneath MVP's leadership. But why would you want to end that so? But anyways,
because WWE factions stay together, and you know what I mean by that. And mark my words, Judgment Day is coming for JD.
And then that. And also, you put him on main event. Main event. Why? This is a criminally underrated who has given you 20 years of service to the WWE. And this is the best that you got for him?
Yeah, former Intercontinental Champion, if people remember that as well.
Former IC champion, former United States champion, former WWE Tag Team Champion and World Tag Team Champion 2, and Raw Tag Team Champion as well. I'm just saying, you want to put him on main event, but easy. Put him on Impact. Heck, you can put him back in New Japan Pro Wrestling if you want to, but difference is.
You remember his time? He was part of NJPW for a stint.
Also with Suzuki Gun, let's not forget about that. But if he was to go back to New Japan, then there'll be no Suzuki Gun. The whole landscape can change from there. But in my prediction, I can see him going to AEW as a coach. But if he wants to still wrestle, let him do his thing. I can see him going to AEW as a coach, personally, per se.
Well, it's been heavily criticized, as you and I both know, that they don't think there's enough of a coaching staff to find, grow, and groom these talents that are being literally led by Dustin Rhodes, QT Marshall, and even for that matter, the elite among the other minds that are there too to guide them, like Chris Jericho. But still, there is still a very much not enough use or exploit for the incredible talent they got there to fine-tune this young, hungry talent, whether you want to in-ring or from maybe what more people hold critically more character perspective. But I digress. Continue.
Emma, this is twice now for Tenille Dashwood, because she posted a tweet
right after the freaking Elimination Chamber Australia announcement.
And then all of a sudden, not going to be going there. And I was like, that's one way to find out that you're going to get budget cut just like that. Just take away their, but this is WWE. They don't care about that. As long as if you're not making them money, they're going to spit you right out. So, Tenille, I can see her going back to Impact. Honestly. Exactly. I can see her going back to Impact, honestly. As far as her husband, Riddick Moss, I can see him joining there. But Riddick, I kind of seen it coming because they don't. I mean, but because they don't really value him like that as much. I mean, but why would you even give him the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal trophy winner if you're not going to use him more often? Like, that's my thing from a booking standpoint.
The trophy is literally just a moment in the sun. It doesn't mean a damn thing. It hasn't meant a damn thing since the first winner.
And let me see who else. I can go on with the list, but there's one name in particular. No, actually, one name in particular that caught me off guard, and another name that caught me off guard, but in a different way.
And what would that be?
The different way, bruh.
I mean, he burned more bridges than he burned stuff outside the damn Rascals treehouse. Just saying.
Exactly my point. Matt Riddle had, if you were to sum up one sentence of Matt Riddle, or even one word. I'm gonna use the one word in the one sentence in perspective right here. What if he stopped letting them personal issues get the best of him? Because the dude can go in the ring. We've seen it in the black and gold. We've seen it on multiple brands of Raw and SmackDown. World champ potential. World champ potential.
Oh, bar none. But again, they never pulled the trigger. He even faced Roman Reigns one-on-one. And with Randy Orton being seen at the PC, you thought maybe RK Bro would have once become a thing where they finally had the best friends feud. Well, that ain't happening.
Nope, and it all stemmed. Well, what drove the final nail in the coffin was that JFK airport incident. It's what drove the nail in the coffin, saying, nope, he's too much personal baggage. He got to go. Yeah. And plus his personal history with Dana White as well. So of course, Dana White going to have a say in that as well, knowing that the two companies merged together. So he's going to have a say to that. He probably went up to ARE Emanuel. Probably ARE Emanuel found out the news of Matt Riddle, the JFK airport scandal or whatever, and then the Dana White's like, oh, he's still on the roster? I have a say in that. Me and him I fired him because he's a pothead and he broke the drug testing laws of UFC. I have a say in that. So, like, of course, Dana White's going to have a say in that. But, Matt, just take care of yourself, bro. Because, like, you're a walking PR nightmare. And I hate to say that, but it's true. You are a walking PR nightmare.
Accurate. Because
of the baggage that you hold. And until you get that baggage cleared up, you will always become a walking PR nightmare. And I don't want that. Here's what I'm going to compare this to. Even though he's got rid of his demons currently, you know who I'm talking about. Jeff Hardy.
Yep.
That's how I compared the two. But currently, Jeff has taken care of his demons. Matt needs to do the same. Now, as far as the other name that surprised me, Dolph Ziggler. Mm-hmm. When Ryan Nemeth posted the tweet of him and his brother on Twitter a few days before the releases, I'm like over here thinking, wait a minute. Wait. Something's up. Does Ryan know what we don't know? And then all of a sudden, he's gone. It's like Ryan knew before anybody else did, before even the dirt sheets did. And it's like, Dolph, out of all people, why? Why? I thought he was going to be a WWE lifer.
Same.
2-time World Heavyweight Champion, Grand Slam champion, or done all what he did. He did a first ballot Hall of Famer, bar none. Bar none. And then you release him? Something don't add up.
I feel like I kind of foreshadowed it in just conversation when me and JJ were covering Payback and talking about The Miz versus LA Knight. By the way, get well soon. Kobe, you still fucking suck. That's a whole different conversation. Yeah. But the thing about it is, Miz has kind of become the Dolph Ziggler of the WWE. He's that utility player you use to work with a person. But the biggest difference between Miz and Dolph Ziggler, Miz is still a weekly mainstay on WWE television. They literally use Miz TV to test somebody in promo. Miz is used to literally fine tune what could be a future WWE superstar. We saw that with LA Knight and The Miz in their promo encounter, and we saw that escalated with The Miz and LA Knight at Payback with John Cena as special guest referee. By the way, whoever thought you would see The Rock show about a random fucking SmackDown in Colorado?
Right.
And Roman Reigns still wishes he got a pop as big as that. Sorry, not sorry. It's just fact. Anyway, but yeah, the fact of the matter that Dolph Ziggler, who is basically at this point, you think he would be like, a coach or on a Legends contract, because it feels like he's grown that type of legacy since being WWE. And this guy was brought out as a fucking male cheerleader, just saying. Gone. I mean, yeah, you call him once in a while, he does his comedy shtick. Well, again, now he's got more time than ever. Dolph Ziggler, I mean, the industry should literally be in the palm of his hand. But yet I do wonder, how much was Dolph Ziggler affected by this? Because I don't think we've heard anything from Dolph himself on
We've
this.
We've heard from everybody else post WWE budget cut, but Nick Nimitz himself.
Yeah. So everyone else is throwing out that speculation and maybe that, bad slack to WWE. You do wonder if Dolph Ziggler maybe welcomed this, saw it coming. Like you say, he talked to his brother. The brother apparently knew by everything on the internet. That's saying something in this day and age of the collective industry. It really did catch me by surprise, but I do think about after what he did with NXT's Braun Breaker, he's literally done nothing.
So, yeah, and I could see Tony easily trying to negotiate a contract with him. Negotiating. But the Maximum Male Models, too. I've seen their their Twitch live stream with Mansoor, or in this case, Mason Mansoor. But, yeah, I know, but they pitched some really good ideas. They really did. Mace even brought up the idea of bringing back Dashing Cody Rhodes for his gimmick and having Cody Rhodes get involved. Which I'm like,
WWE said no.
Exactly. WWE said no. And I was like, that could actually work for one night. Have Cody be a part of that and have Dashing Cody Rhodes be portrayed at the Mace's pitched idea gimmick. See, I like that. See, WWE, Vince, when something you pitch, Vince ain't gonna like it. And as much as people want to say about it, oh, Triple H is head of creative. Yeah. Entitled. Yes, he does have some say, but the final say is back to the old man himself.
Damn it, because it's such good shit, or it's nothing, or you're fired if you disagree. Because you need to fall in line and work. I mean, there's a reason why Nia Jax is back on our screen.
Yep, and that all started because he basically recommended that since he got back in the chair in January.
And the likes of Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark have already suffered from it, including one that's injured. Whoops. And this is the person you're putting up against Rhea Ripley after she hasn't done jack shit with the Freya Rosa Championship. Yeah, way to respect women's wrestling, WWE. Way to set back 5 steps. Why this White and Gold NXT has more than both the Raw and SmackDown rosters combined, which is a damn sad shame if you know what I mean. Again, AEW got potential. They lack the quantity in their booking weekly, in my opinion. Impact still leads, period, point blank, simple. But I do like the fact that right now they're slow burning Billy Stars versus Athena, which I clearly think is going to have a Ring of Honor final battle. As you've been watching Ring of Honor, and honestly, besides Maria Kanellis building her own kingdom or expanding with the kingdom she has now, freaking Billy Stars and Athena right now is the most interesting thing of Ring of Honor.
Which I find that interesting how Maria is just basically expanding the kingdom without Matt Taven and Mike Bennett knowing that. Which is going to be interesting how that comes.
Let's be honest. Maria's been in charge of the kingdom since day one. If she sent those boys off on excursion while she rebuilds her kingdom, you're going to question Maria Kanellis?
But who the heck is Griff Garrison? I just had to bring that back.
I don't know, actually. I'm glad that guy's back on screen. He still has a job, but yeah, I'm still figuring that guy out. And then you got legit later Hirsch, who's been at war with Maria and her
Because she wants to do it on her own without Maria's help.
Yeah, well, we'll see how far that goes. Again, the Ring of Honor Women's Division is deep, and everybody wants Athena's prize, but no one's been able to beat the Forever Champ. And right now, the closest thing to beating her might be the person that right now she might be underestimating as an ally, her minion. Just saying. And those two have yet to face one-on-one for the title. They only had one one-on-one encounter during the Owen. And that was for like a cup of coffee during the 0 hour. I'm just saying.
Right.
But
It was.
again, as far as these budget cuts goes, it always sucks to see somebody lose a job. At the end of the day, these people are trying to make a living. So I wish them the best, whatever they choose to do, and may it be financially stable for them. So at the end of the day, folks, whether you dislike the character, whether you disown the wrestler, just support humanity, respect each other, support one another. That's all I got to say about that. All right, before we get into AEW, when it comes to the media call, the end of an era, the start of a new, and WrestleDream 2, is there anything else you want to talk about or just want to highlight regarding anything else in all things wrestling?
No, that was the only thing I had to highlight was because of that.
Well, let's go ahead and get right into our main topic and focus here. As again, we always focus on AEW, but it seems that Tony Khan, I'm always doing stuff. He seems like he might be trying to change things up once again, or surprising us, or expanding beyond maybe his own booking limits, because I do think the madman, I love his passion, but not one man can run the industry always on their own. There is a limit to your mentality. And now speculation abound. This guy might buy New Japan Pro Wrestling. And that's not the only thing being talked about lately, is it, King? So now I lend it to you. Talk about what you've heard lately in the world of Tony Khan and the future of AEW outside what we're going to discuss in our WrestleDream preview, because there was a media call, apparently. The floor is yours.
Oh, man, here we go. We're going to take notes as I'm off camera here for this one because I have the notes on the phone screenshot. I will be off camera for about a few. I got this mostly from Cassidy Hayes, John Alba, and Sean Ross Sapp, who were part of that media call. Tony was asked about monthly pay-per-views and if they will land on a streaming platform soon. Tony says he never said he planned on to go into monthly pay-per-views. But then he talks about all the shows they have done over the last couple of months, hypes up WrestleDream, and talks about the online reaction. What's that online reaction to you just talked about just now? This is from John Alba's Twitter. Tony Khan is asked about the rumors of him buying New Japan Pro Wrestling. He says he was even surprised people were talking about the transactional nature of it, given the working relationship of AEW has. He reiterates saying he enjoys the partnership, but if you believe in conspiracies, he didn't outright said no. Now, once again, he gets asked this question, the rumor of purchasing New Japan Pro Wrestling, and he once again doesn't outright deny it. He mentions tracking down the rumor of where it started and then talks about debunking rumors. And then he said, without spilling the beans, he says without spilling the beans on what I'm working for the future. That's what he said before he reiterate his excitement about WrestleDream. And then Sean Ross Sapp was asked about that rumor, NJPW rumor.
Oh, Lord.
Then Sean Ross Sapp got it from Bill Pritchard saying from what Tony said, I have no intention to clarify what I mean by the comment of end of an era / start of an era, which means he has no intention of clarifying it. He's not going to outright say it, you guys. So
of course not.
That is that. Tony was asked again about the end of the era comment and is again asked about potentially buying a promotion. Tony says that he isn't going to clarify the comments. It's from Cassidy Haynes at BodySlam.net's Twitter, by the way, folks. Talks about the rumor of buying a promotion and asks where the first started. Tony then pivots to hype up the accomplishments of AEW this year, which he has every right to. Look what the accomplishments AEW has done this year. Says that this is their most adventurous year. Adventurous, yeah, that's the word I would definitely use.
Jesus.
He says he wants to keep on doing adventurous things and says that this year they have built their reputation in a strong way. Talks about the credibility of their shows, saying that they're doing great things. Talks about the criticism of their program by talking about how great the shows that they put on. Talks injuries and how you have to game plan for some of our players get knocked out of the game. said he is happy for what they are doing right now, but doesn't clarify what the new era of AEW will be. Now, of course, here comes Uncle Dave.
Oh,
Dave
God,
Meltzer.
that guy. Here we go.
D-
Take this with a grain
Tony.
of salt, folks, as always.
So Sean Ross Sapp from Fightful posted this on his Twitter about, because Dave Meltzer was on the call. Tony Khan tells Dave Meltzer that AEW and Warner Brothers Discovery have spoken a lot about Warner Brothers Discovery having a potential ownership in the company. He's open to taking on potential partners, but right now he owns 100% of AEW and all voting rights. He loved to have a longer agreement with AEW and is open to other agreements, but does not want to give up control of AEW. Respect Tony on that part. Of course, then Tony tells Dave that Wardlow is still in AEW and he will be back on TV when the time is right. And of course, was we going to allude to talk about this match? We're going to talk about, I think, will be a good sequel. I feel like here in a little segue of saying that Tony Khan is asked about Adam Cole's injury and said that as of now the match at WrestleDream is still on. Then we found out later on during tonight on Dynamite that isn't the case. But also Tony Khan tells Dominic D'Angelo that he likes working with RVD and hopes to have him back in the future. So that one, we ain't gonna see the last of RVD. Oh, and from Better Wrestling Entertainment, and as I get back on screen, on this day, I see clearly Edge is potentially about to be closer to AEW than we at least expected. And that's from Better Wrestling Experience, who has been on track with their sources as of late.
Adam Copeland in AEW. What the fuck?
I feel like what we are about to experience is a company switch off. As in WWE gets Jade, we're potentially about to have Adam Copeland.
Ooh. Okay. Well, a lot of takeaway there. So, again, the reason I put up the graph, in case you didn't saw, what started with only 4 pay-per-views, King, they're doing total, and this is just AEW, by the way, not Ring of Honor included with the 2 they've done this year, and the 3rd are going to happen in December. What started in this simple little company with 4 pay-per-views escalated to freaking 7. And each one of those pay-per-views was $50. And, of course, we are coming up on WrestleDream. And then, of course, we have Full Gear. And, of course, December is usually surrounded by Final Battle, the 3rd pay-per-view of the Ring of Honor cycle, the lightest pay-per-view cycle of the year. Yet every pay-per-view under the Tony Khan regime of both companies has been $50. Each of these pay-per-views alone, if you bought every one, like I have, because I'm a mammoth. Hello, my name's Noah Foster. I'm a fan of professional wrestling. You literally have spent right now just on the AEW. I'll leave it out of it. I'll leave the 2 Ring of Honor ones out of it. Just on the AEW pay-per-views, you've spent now $250 on professional wrestling content. And WrestleDream's not included in that. That's another 50 coming up right now, too.
And I'm glad you touching on that, because Andrew Zarian, when he was on the Wrestling Observer radio over the weekend, which folks, y'all mostly know him from the Madman podcast. He went on to state for the record saying that, Max, it's happening. It's going to happen in the beginning of 2024. Heck, it might happen on a December pay-per-view. He didn't specify on what a December pay-per-view is, but from what I've gathered, Tony is willing to negotiate to do pay-per-views from 6 to 8 pay-per-views, as in do the 6 to 8 number of pay-per-views. But also, if I want to speculate even further, many people have speculated that they're doing, the Dynamite specials that we've been getting could potentially become pay-per-views.
They've been pay-per-view on the television, to be fair. I mean, me and Jade even talked about, let's talk about the specials they've done on TV itself. And let's try and go for the year. It starts off with New Year's Smash, right?
Right.
We start with that. And now, I don't know if you want to count the title Tuesdays, because I just figured that, okay, it's just a time thing. But it is a bigger show. Botch. That was funny. It's been a while since I've done that for a while. Anyway, hey, we had enough technical difficulties on Dynamite tonight. At least it wasn't audio related here.
Right.
Okay, so what was I saying? I lost my train of thought.
The New Year's Smash, and then you said you wasn't going to count Title Tuesday.
No, we're right. Had a title Tuesday. You had freaking Battle of the Belts, which they haven't announced the Battle of the Belts as of late. I just want to put that out there. You have freaking Fighter Fest. You have Fight for the Fallen. Last year they did Create the Lake. They didn't do that this year. And we've seen these sponsored Dynamite shows. I feel that's just a branding thing, though. It is very possible. And also, freaking holiday, you have freaking Holiday Bash. So it is very possible that you could maybe run those as special PLE level things on Max if everything's going to be the max price. When you can reduce everything from 10 versus 50 a pop to 10 a month, I feel that's longer term savings and profiting for AEW and the fans' best interest. And don't even get me started with the fact that also next week we're coming up on AEW Dynamite's 4-year anniversary. It's not homecoming, it's anniversary. That's big in its own right. And they do that annually because AEW doesn't have an off season. They don't necessarily have a reset on their seasons either, but you might as well call it the anniversary of Dynamite, since Dynamite was the start of what became AEW's flagship of this freaking entire company too. It might as well be the reset. We already got a couple of resets to think about. We know that Ray Phoenix is defending the International Championship now against one of your boys, and I still can't believe that's happening. Freaking Nick Jackson, and who knows what else is going to happen following that. So I think it's a great idea if they choose to go, God help us, the freaking near monthly model. Because again, folks, whoops, botched, I'm tired. You freaking look at the AEW pay-per-view cycle. That's every AEW pay-per-view this year. If you were to buy all of those pay-per-views at $50 a pop, again, you're spending their $400, and that's not counting the two-way pay-per-views and inevitably Final Battle. Looking at pay-per-views alone, what I spent on wrestling pay-per-views alone, 50, 100, 150, 200, 250, and then you count the two-way bar shows. I've spent now $300 and some odd $40 on wrestling pay-per-views alone in just AEW, and not everybody's willing to do that, quite clearly. So again, it's one of those things where I'm like, all right, it's definitely possible to do, but not people are not going to be willing to spend on that every year, if you know what I mean. So I think the max deal has to be the way this company goes. And let's also consider this. Not only is AEW talking about the end of an era and a new one to come, if you've been to NJPW.com, there is a new NJPW World coming this autumn. Could that be in joint conjunction with what AEW is doing? To further your point, after all, AEW content every week is covered by Haruka Marata, Miki Matoy, and El Desperado for the fans over in Japan on NJPW. And what's NJPW for them? $9.99 yen, which is less than $10 a month American.
Right.
So, again, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. I really don't. But I think if it means that I don't have to spend $50, even if it is in direct conjunction that, okay, I buy it for Max, but I watch for Bleacher, but it's through Max pricing, I think it's still a long haul. I'd be willing to pay $10 a month for Max just for this. And you figure about they add the content library, not just AW All Access, if they ever try and do that again, but the previous Dynamites and Rampage to your point and collisions. That's a great fallback library to fall upon. And then you think about, okay, Ring of Honor is not Warner Brothers Discovery. I do think that will be separate. But you add independent showcasings of partners of AEW, where your talent's shown up, like AAA, like NJPW, more particularly, probably more realistically, like the freaking independent promotions that Pop defended the national championship with, like Defy, which is heavily involved in several of the titles in AEW that will be involved with Preview this Sunday. There is definitely a great starting point to putting all elite content on Max. And I really do hope it comes to fruition.
Same here.
All right. Well, again, seeing is believing. Journalistic integrity is what you take from it. It is not fact. It is what's simply reported. And that's all I'm going to say about that without judging anybody. But with that being said, we've had fun talk here. It's just two of us, thank Christ. So let's go ahead and get right into our main event as we always do on these impromptus. And what does that come down to? The pay-per-views. And this is not a simple take. It is simply a preview. As once again, AEW brings us a first as we honor literally nearly 1 year to the day the passing of a visionary of the industry in defining professional wrestling and the world of combat sports, Antonio Inoki. As we go to Seattle to present the first ever WrestleDream, and it will be exclusively, of course, on Bleacher Report. Again, $50. Yes, I already bought it. All right, well, we got a lot of matches to talk about here, but I think we'll definitely focus on the bigger stories here. Now, you subtly talked about it a little bit ago. There's a reason why I don't have a graphic for it. As we learned, the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships will be on the line, but it will not be under normal circumstances. For Adam Cole, damn it, literally exploded his ankle in 3 different spots and will require surgery. He is out for the long term going. But Maxwell Jacob Freeman, the devil you think you know versus the devil you don't know or still fully don't know after what we saw tonight, he has put it on himself to not only defend the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships in handicap action, but to hold strong to them until Adam Cole makes his triumphant return. So here we are. It is MJF, better than you, baby, defending the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships against the Righteous. You know what I'm saying, man? And originally, as we speculated, it was to be probably the Kingdom being their downfall. It would not surprise me, especially after what we saw tonight on Dynamite, they use this as an audible. Because if nothing else is known about AEW's future, you can speculate on a lot of shit. But I think it's safe to assume that we got our AEW Championship program heading into the next pay-per-view. So, King, your thoughts on this? Does the Righteous dig what you're saying and become your new Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions? Or does MJF give us another big surprise and moment and somehow survives and continues being single-handedly not just the AEW World Champion, but the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions?
I'll keep snapping like this because man, MJF, man.
I dig what you're saying. That's so damn weird.
It really is. I'm gonna stop it right there. But yeah, it's so weird though because the fact that this is now a handicap match for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships. We respect MJF here, but at the end of the day, we're gonna dig what they're saying. The Righteous is the new Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions. There's no way MJF gonna pull this off.
Again, with the amount of damage done to his fucking neck, he's lucky to still be a different world
and
championship.
Plus, he's got Jay White in the back burner as well.
Yeah, clearly the catalyst professional wrestling is on his mind, but is he also on his hit list?
As we saw the other Dynamite, the devil, like you alluded to before we hit record,
Just
devil
saying.
you do know versus the devil you don't.
But to add further conspiracy to this, who did Switchblade Jay White face last week in singles action when LFI says they're coming back to take over AEW? Los Fashions Ingobernables, Andrade El Idolo. There's been no Roosh. There's been no Preston Vance. There's been no Jose the assistant. There's been no El Jalistico.
Ooh.
I'm just saying.
Ooh, I didn't even think about that till you just got said that. I didn't even think about that.
Just saying. Just saying.
Ooh.
Just saying. There may be a whole different war on your hands with Bullet Club Gold right now. Guns up or tranquilo. But as far as this match goes, yeah, I agree. There's no way in hell NJF is leaving with the friggin' Ring of Honor tag team titles. One man cannot be, even for an unknown period of time, Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champion in capacity. Sorry, I audible. This is gonna be wacky as hell because it's the Righteous, man. But the Righteous resets the Ring of Honor Tag Division as champions, and we'll see what happens with that. All right. Well, as we go from a title bout, let's go to a singles bout of a different sort. As we learned tonight, the man that's been at war with the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, he's been put out and hasn't gotten up, but respect has been shown. After what's happened in the Texas Death Match, Jesus Christ, he is truly what he says he is, and that is absolute. But can he absolutely deliver a message of strong spirit and get up and refuse to stay down as he takes on Blackpool Combat Club's own Wheeler Yuta, a first-time ever one-on-one encounter, while Wheeler Yuta has been hardened by the Blackpool Combat Club and the training underneath them. Can Ricky Starks proves that he is just as hardened, if not more. Is hardened spirit tougher than being absolute? What's your take on this singles match?
Ricky survived Bryan Danielson not once, but twice. And when it comes to Bryan Danielson, you got to be strong-willed and strong-minded, and better believe on your A game. Ricky Starks has done that. But this is now Wheeler Yuta. You're now facing another member of the Blackpool Combat Club now. If he can manage to survive Wheeler, I think you will probably take into consideration of Ricky Starks in the early parts become part of the Blackpool Combat Club. That is until you face Claudio or Moxley or whenever Moxley gets cleared.
Right.
But this is going to be another test for Ricky in the Blackpool Combat Club's mind because they are always forced into combat. Ricky's going to have to be more than absolute to forge in combat.
All right, that's a fair analysis, and I do agree. It is one of those things right now where Wheeler Yuta is he maybe the proving ground to Ricky Starks after Wheeler Yuta faced the proving ground by the Combat Club. John Moxley, by the way, John Moxley get well soon, as an audible recalls last week at our Friday Stand Grand Slam. He suffered a concussion, but was able to walk out on his own power. And again, one of the most important workers in the entire AEW system, Tony Khan's words himself, to the human being, John Moxley, please get well soon. And again, folks, when you suffer one, you never truly are the same, and you're more vulnerable to them. And knowing John Moxley and the extent of extreme he goes with wrestling, I do hope he proceeds cautiously, because the more importantly than being a wrestler, you need to be to your family a father. That's all I got to say about that. So get well soon. But yeah, I do figure, again, Bryan Danielson extended the olive branch of joining the Blackpool Combat Club because Ricky Starks has proven not only his absolute, he is as real as it gets and absolutely deserves to be put in place. So it's one of those things where I do think Ricky Starks, after going through 2 wars, Bryan Danielson, and losing under singles circumstances, needs this win. Plus, I do think Big Bill is going to be in his corner. And again, Claudio Castagnoli may not be too far either. How much Ricky Starks willing to prove? Does he need to prove anything with a Yuta? Wheeler Yuta threw down the challenge. Let's see if he regrets it. I think Ricky Starks is going to prevail in this too, but it's going to be a hell of a singles bout. Speaking of hell of bouts, as we saw last week, the family grows after Arthur Stadium when Sammy Guevara lost Chris Jericho. Hashtag WrestleMania 19 callback. And this guy trying to go to war? Okay, he's not Tony Montana, but he is Sammy Guevara, and he has officially joined the Don Callis family. And as we learn, it will be the Don Callis family accepting the challenge thrown out by Jericho and Omega, who are teaming together. That graphic is not deceiving. It is the Don Callis family, Sammy Guevara, IWGP United Kingdom Heavyweight Champion Will Ospreay, and the Alpha, now known, Konosuke Takeshita with Don Callis in the corner, the most evil entity in all professional wrestling, taking on the trio of Chris Jericho, Kenny Omega, and Kota Ibushi, if he's conscious enough to take a freaking bell to the head. King, look, we've talked about this vendetta at the heart. It's it's Kenny Omega and Don Callis. This does not end till Kenny Omega finally gets his hands on Don Callis and shuts him up once and for all. And so far, let's look at the record that happened this year. They lost at Double or Nothing after being screwdrivered in the head after the steel cage at Detroit. They lost at AEW All In trios action. Konosuke got the roll-up on Kenny Omega. And then the following week at AEW All Out, Konosuke Takeshita fucking knocked out Kenny Omega. By God. There is that thing, though, that Will Ospreay and Sammy Guevara, we still don't know if an apology has been given. And we talked about Will Ospreay and the fall going for him as against the United Empire will be taking part across 3 different pay-per-views across 3 different companies, starting with WrestleDream for AEW. In other news, I also know Chris Jericho has called out Konosuke Takeshita and will challenge him one-on-one at Deadlock Pro Wrestling. There's a lot of moving parts, but at the end of the day, it truly comes down to what does the future hold for Kenny Omega, especially since the rest of your Elite Boys are now the Ring of Six-Man Tag Team Champions, and one of them has a guaranteed shot now at the AEW International Championship. So again, where does Kenny Omega go from here? Can his golden lover and one of his greatest rivals coexist long enough, strong enough with this vendetta courtesy of Don Callis? What's your take on the 6-man tag, man? This could go either way, but at the end of the day, does Don Callis finally put the exclamation point or screwdriver on what was Kenny by God Omega and make way for the Alpha?
Oh, man, you're right. This can go either way because both teams, of course, you got Sammy and Will. I don't know, like you alluded to, they haven't made the apology yet. Jericho and Omega, we know their history. You Wrestle Kingdom 12, anybody? I mean, just saying, rivals turn partners for one night. But, of course, Kenny coming to the aid of Jericho. But, man, this can go either way because Don Callis is, like you said, he wants to get rid of Omega. He wants to put the E out of all Elite Wrestling. And it's going to start at the head with Kenny Omega. Now, does the Don Callis family get the win here? No. Actually, I take that back. Yes, they do because of the momentum they've been having. Of course, having Sammy join the group. Yeah. Don's going to get another win underneath his belt, but with time with Sammy. Because Sammy just joined the group, and you got to build Sammy up as well. Don's still going to get another W.
People brought by a common cause, still not strong enough, and will take the loss. And again, it was Kota Ibushi that took the loss at AEW All In after getting kneed in the face before Kenny Omega got rolled up by Konosuke. Konosuke, the most lethal participant in this match. And that says something. You got Will Ospreay on the same side with you, with, again, ghosts of his past, as he said backstage after the defending against Yosuji, too. And as we learned, it will be Will Ospreay versus Zack Sabre Jr. for the ATW United Kingdom Championship at Royal Crown 3 in the Color Box, which will be presented on Rev Pro on pay-per-view on demand. And then, of course, we talked about Bound for Glory. Will Ospreay makes his Impact Wrestling debut against Speedball Mike Bailey. And this is after Will Ospreay not only defended this title against Yosuji, he actually got his one-on-one dream match encounter against freaking Marufuji in Pro Wrestling Noah and beat him too. So again, Will Ospreay truly is a guy on another level. You can't have him lose. Konosuke Takeshita right now, the Alpha, being built as the next Kenny Omega, above Kenny Omega, courtesy of Don Callis. And Sammy Guevara just joined this family too, trying to get the better of Chris Jericho. Has not gotten the better of Sammy Guevara. He and Kota Ibushi have never encountered each other. And Kota Ibushi is coming in here probably with a screwed up brain, worse than ever. Although Murder Ibushi shows up, well, you throw predictions out the window, someone's going to die. It almost feels like for me that Sammy Guevara could be the guy that is the fall. If he and Ospreay have that fallout and Don Callis protects his prime interest. Because at the end of the day, you know Don Callis is protecting one individual, and that's Konosuke Takeshita. That's why he christened him the Alpha. Don't think that Don will literally take his ball and run, especially if Will Ospreay and Sammy can't coexist. So again, we'll have to wait and see. But it's one of those matches that could go either way, and I really don't know which way is the better way of storytelling. Speaking of storytelling, talk about putting pen to paper and then putting your pen through the man's hand and signing it with blood. Let's talk about this singles encounter. As of course, the paper takes place in Seattle. In whose house?
Swerve's house.
Damn right. No Prince Nana dancing included. As Swerve Strickland goes one-on-one for the first time ever against Heyman Adam Page, who again has shown us a little bit more Cowboy Shinznak than we've seen in a long time. And yet I do still wonder, is it enough based on what we have been speculating about him? As we saw, the Mogul Embassy, damn it, freaking lost me my six-man tag team championships and it cost me my dignity. And of course, your boys, the Elite, now are two-time Ring of Honor six-man tag team champions. But none of the boys came out with the titles tonight during Dynamite. I don't know if you noticed that as well as I did.
Oh, I noticed.
Matt Jackson, of course, will be involved in another match we'll talk about here shortly alongside Nick, who Nick, of course, has a guaranteed one-on-one opportunity against Ray Phoenix as we visit that singles next week on anniversary. But, hey, man, Heyman's direction has been unclear. Now he's once again back with his family. He's a champion now with them once again, too, after such a long period of time. But Swerve been trying to swerve everything for the longest time this year in AEW. Coming off that loss, it all in. But he didn't get, well, he did get buried in the coffin, excuse me. And that still steams with him to this day. Now he swerved his freaking, I would say, objectives. And now he's looking to take him in Adam Page's spot. There's been more twists and turns with this narrative in the short term here than I expected. So that being said, we're in Seattle. It's his house. But will we see him and Adam Page make a house call with a buckshot lariat and take Swerve's lease from it? After the Mogul Embassy already lost, I gotta wonder again, is business picked up or is the Mogul Embassy about to be out of more money? What's your take on this match, King?
Speaking of money, he is the money. But with the Mogul Embassies, like I feel like their power is starting. Like you said, it all started at Grand Slam when they lost the Ring of Honor six-man championships to my boys. Which congratulations, boys, two-time Ring of Honor six-man champions, by the way. But this is the Swerve I wanted to see to test himself in the main event scene. What better way to test yourself in the main event scene than a former AEW World Champion and Hangman Adam Page, who is also a member of the Elite, who are also EVPs and also part of that main event scene as well, but willing to do the work and willing to basically put people over. This is Swerve's biggest test right here, and I feel like Swerve needs to win. Swerve needs to win. If he really wants to prove himself to be a main event player here in AEW, yes, you can make Adam Page look strong in defeat, but Swerve needs to win here. And plus, I overseen EJ Adanka's, or Adanka's, however you pronounce his last name, Twitter. Him and Swerve been interacting back and forth. So does Swerve know that we don't know? And is hiring a new member for the Mogul Embassy?
It's already on Fox for it, Dad, just saying.
Yeah, well, I don't want to deep dive into that.
Let's talk more about that later.
Exactly, but Swerve even said it himself. If he was to be in Adam Hangman Page's shoes, he would have become the first Black AEW World Champ. He would have had the momentum that he would have had, that Adam Page had. Swerve's got that hunger. Swerve's got that intensity. Swerve's got that drive. No pun intended. But Swerve is ready for that main event scene. He's ready. He wants to prove that. What better way to do it than Adam Hangman Page? I got Swerve with the win here if you want to get the Mogul Embassy to get that power back on track.
Yeah, at this point, again, going back to the home where literally Swerve cultivated his house. Defy Wrestling, by the way, neighborhood, AO. I mean, at this point, Swerve kind of needs this win. Being a former AEW World Champion, that is huge dividends on raising Swerve stock in AEW. And at this point, with the Mogul Embassy, kind of the rest of them have failed, and you're talking about this hunger and fire that him and that Page once had, and maybe been rekindled a little bit by Swerve, as he admitted during that contract sign before he pierced his hand with that pen. Ouch. Damn. Ouch. I do think that Swerve kind of needs this more, because at the end of the day, him and that Page, he's still one of the founding fathers, pretty much, of All Elite Wrestling, and also former AEW World Champion. So we'll see how this former Defy, now AEW homecomer, does at WrestleDream. Speaking of Defy and AEW homecomers, will Darby Allin defy Christian Cage's bravado, his philosophy to work everyone, and will he be worked so hard with everyone there that Darby Allin once again becomes the TNT Championship? Either way, this has to be the final chapter with these two. Now officially, God damn it, Lord forgive me. Now officially, the face of TNT, Christian Cage, that just hurts so much to say. He defends the title one last time against Darby Allin, and it doesn't get more definitive than this. 2 out of 3 falls match. As we saw a few weeks ago on Collision, Darby Allin beat Christian Cage in the main event via pinfall roll-up. That match before a 30-man counter. Christian Cage is limited down 6. AEW All In, Christian Cage and Swerve lost the coffin match, but Christian Cage didn't lose that match with traditional partner. They did lose the traditional tag team match, though, at Grand Slam Rampage last week against Darby Allin and Sting. But last week, Saturday, on AEW Collision in Triple Threat, it was Luchasaurus who nearly got a brain. Held his title for the first time. Luchasaurus and Christian Cage made sure Darby Allin did not become the TNT champion, and Luchasaurus was officially pinned by Christian Cage, making Christian Cage officially the face of TNT and the champion. As we heard in a very personal sit-down interview where Christian Cage called out Darby Allin, not only as a champion, not only as a mentor, but as a man who hides behind others, who believes in his own bravado, who paints his face halfway, because he is truly not the man that Christian Cage is. We saw Darby Allin show him exactly who he is. And Darby Allin challenged Christian to show him exactly that man he is. As he says, you think you're that good, then don't bring Luchasaurus out there, because I don't need Nick Wayne. I'll even tell Nick Wayne to stay home. But Christian Cage instigating everybody with connections to Darby Allin, making this as personal as a freaking needle through the damn nail through the damn coffin, pun intended, as possible. How fame with Christian Cage already been in a coffin earlier this year at Revolution. King, this is the TNT Championship. It's always been criticized, the hot potato title, but Darby Allin criticized it as losing its value. Some people would say that the TNT Championship has never been more prestigious since Christian Cage has literally held it hostage. But Darby Allin has made it be known he cares more about this title than even the AEW World Championship gold. And clearly we know what direction that's going in. So I have to ask you, with another homecoming Seattle native, man, all the Seattle people, friggin' Brian Dales, that we'll talk about here in the main event, friggin' Aubrey Evers, I know it's going to have a fucking field day. Christian Cage, does he finally work Darby Allin and everyone involved and put a close to this book on this TNT title pursuit? Or does Darby Allin, one last coffin drop, gets it done? Luchasaurus wakes up, Nick Wayne and AR Fox come together in the name of their friend. And does Darby Allin win, ironically enough, for the 3rd time, the TNT Championship?
Christian said that he wants to, out wrestle Darby. He wants to, because he said that Darby isn't a wrestler. He's more reckless.
With the skateboard and all that type of stuff, which again, there is some truth to that, to be fair.
It really is. But when we get down to it, with basically normal wrestling rules, just go back and watch him in MJF. I still watch that to this day. And just tell everybody, like, if you don't think Darby Allin can wrestle in normal rules, he can. Like, simple as that. But basically, Christian telling Darby, like, he wants Nick Wayne to be mentored by a champion, by a real man, and not by someone whose face paint, who paints their face and have to hide their identity And then Darby showed that intensity in his promo, like, basically, yeah, I mean, I can mentor Nick Wayne and all that. Yeah, Nick Wayne deserves to be with me, not be with you, be with you, for some sake. You know what they say, lightning strikes twice, right?
Yes.
Same goes here. Darby wins it back in Seattle, and we end this.
All right. Just like that, huh? And I guess it also would be third time the charm because this would be Darby Allin's third attempt at the TNT Championship held by Christian Cage and hostage. Let's not forget, at AEW All Out, he was literally almost put out with a concerto by Christian Cage and being obliterated by Luchasaurus. And I mean obliterated quite literally. So, again, it just feels like right now the most poetic ending to this saga of Darby Allin's pursuit for the TNT Championship. And again, the show is called Wrestle Dream. The show is to honor the man in the dead center between the American Dragon and the guy of Tech Earth, Antonio Inoki. And one of the things about Inoki, it's only the strongest prevail. Sorry, hiccups. I do think Darby Allin absolutely deserves this moment and this one last run, especially if the man's going to be climbing Mount Everest next year and he really doesn't fear death. But I think I agree with you because at this point, if Darby Allin doesn't win the TNT title, should he ever challenge for it again?
As long as Christian holds it, really.
It surprised me Christian Cage didn't make that a caveat. Then again, we do have Collision this Saturday in the same building, in the same city. So don't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if Christian Cage works Darby Allin one last angle. Just saying.
Right.
This is gonna be a very intense wrestling match. I can't wait for this. All right. Let's go ahead and change gears now to something that you can talk about with your boys. As again, what the hell are your Bucks doing going after not one, not two, but 3 damn championships, dude? Overkill. But here we go, because the Young Bucks got a chance now at another piece of gold as a duo. It is a fatal 4-way number contendership for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. We'll talk about this match, that match after this, I'll tell you that much. Between the Young Bucks, the Guns, Orange Cassidy, and Hook. Yes, that's our team. And the Lucha Brothers. And here's the caveat. The winner gets a shot at the AEW Tag Team Championship anytime they want. And that can include the next pay-per-view in California. I'm just saying. Now, I'm sure there's going to be a very non-biased and very analytical, structured take on this fair point number contendership from my elite brother. So, King, what's your take on this fatal 4-way for a number contendership for the AEW Tag Team Champions? Considering 3 of these teams are former AEW Tag Team Champions,
and one is not.
Cassidy aren't.
And it's like this: the Bucks want another shot at FTR. They do. They talked about it. It's nothing to hide about it. They want another shot. They felt like they got outworked by this much.
They did.
And all in.
It may be that much, but at the end of the day, dude, they got the 1-2-3 count in front of the biggest audience in wrestling history in the rubber.
Exactly, in the rubber. As much as I want to see Chapter 4, nah. Bucks don't take it here. I have a gut feeling they don't. It's either going to go to the Guns, because the Guns got something. Ever since they've been with Bullet Club Gold, their momentum has guns up. So I can see the Guns take it here. Orange Cassidy and Hook, that's a wild card.
Right.
Like, if they actually pull this off, color me shocked. The Lucha Bros, give or take. I mean, yeah, Rafe just got cleared this tonight when he had to face Jeff Jarrett for the International Championship.
Let's not mention that name.
but how 100% is he really? Like, yeah, he got cleared, but how 100% is he really though? That's why I'm going with the guns here. Like, yeah, that 4-way match that we had tonight was a banger, but I'm going with my gut feeling, and I'm going with the guns. And they get their get back, as they say. They get their get back on FTR and become a 2-time AEW World Tag Team Champions.
Yeah, it's one of those things where at the end of the day, if somebody already is holding a title, I can't see them winning. ATW Championship still is not a section top of AEW, so I don't count that. I do think it's going to come down to literally the Guns versus freaking Orange Cassidy and Cook, because I do think the Lucha Brothers and the Young Bucks are the two brother teams that will always fight forever against each other, especially considering Nick Jackson is facing Ray Phoenix next week Wednesday on the AEW Dynamite anniversary for the AEW International Championship. Make that for what you will. I think right here, though, it's going to either go to the Guns because, like you said, Bullet Club Gold has all the momentum right now, especially with their leader going after the AEW World Championship at MJF. I cannot fucking wait to see how that escalates. And, of course, as we saw Orange Cassidy, he's been trying to find himself again since losing the International Championship. And so far, since coming back to non-singles action, he has been actually effective. He had, of course, won at Rampage Grand Slam. As we saw in Fatal 4-Way tonight, he won with momentum. Now, I know what people are going to think. It's WWE logic. Usually when someone goes into a pay-per-view with momentum, they usually lose. That is true, but this is AEW, and they're not WWE, thank Christ. So I could honestly see them winning. And I do think Orange Cassidy and Cloak is a very interesting dynamic and first time ever, especially if Orange eats another fall. Where does it go from here? And I've already seen the Guns versus FTR, so I'm like, meh.
And also, plus, we also got FTR versus Aussie Open.
Yeah, well, let's go ahead and transition that because I think that's going to be a domino effect. Because, truth be told, I will say this: Guns and FTR are 1-1, so technically, nothing sell with them. And of course, FTR took the AEW Tag Team Championships from them. So it kind of seems poetic. But we'll talk about that later. But speaking of the AEW Tag Team Championships, it's a tag team instant classic match via candidate. 1 year to the day, brother. In the making.
War Quest.
Here we fucking go. FTR defends the AEW World Tag Team Championships against Mark Davis and Kyle Fletcher, Aussie Open. It's FTR and Aussie Open 2 for the richest prizes in AEW. Oh, boy. What the hell we're going to witness here with these 4 yahoos. And again, FTR even christened. Next to them, they could potentially be the best tag team going this generation. Straight out of Dax's mouth himself, who begged, pleaded, prayed like a freaking Madonna movie singlet that he wants that Kyle Fletcher, that Mark Davis, that truly want to be more than what FTR have been. The tag team going in professional wrestling. Damn it, but I digress. I am truly torn on this one. Traditional tag team match. The second time ever encounter. Aussie Open, back from injury. Aussie Open versus the world. Fell short at Death for Dishonor for the Ray Barber Tag Team Championships. And to their point, FTR even pointed out, you fell short to Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara. That team no longer exists. You fell short at one point also to another set of brothers. And again, you have not lived up to what you've been about. Yeah, you got a quick win over Jobbers. Congratulations. We literally are defending these titles against any young, hungry duo that wants it. Hell of a war with the Workhorsemen. Even greater obstacle to overcome in the Iron Savages. And enough things cannot be said about the 58-minute 2-hour free-fall TV classic with your Bullet Club Gold compadres in Switchblade Jay White and Rock Hard Juice Robinson. But if any team can beat FTR for the AEW Tag Team Championships, at this point in their career, at this stage, at this pay-per-view. Bro, it's gotta be Aussie Open for me. It's gotta be Aussie Open's time. It's 1 year to the fucking day. Top guys have set the benchmark. Aussie Open needs to surpass it. And they first need to gain back that credit by beating them for the AEW Tag Team Championships. I think Aussie Open has to get it done here. What's your take?
I can't agree with you more now that you put it in that statement. I can't agree. I can't agree with you more because of the fact that basically Aussie Open needs this after losing the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships to Better Than You, baby, which I still can't believe that happened at Allin on the pre-show on the 0 hour.
Right.
They need this win more than FTR does. FTR has done everything that they could with that title in their second run, even though their first run was short, but their second run has been better than their first run as AEW World Tag Team Champions. Aussie Open needs this more. And what we're about to witness, as I've always said all along, when it comes to this AEW Tag Team division, one, we're about to witness Tag Team Classic, Tag Team Cinema, but also, number two, you can say it with me if you like. The AEW Tag Team division is always on lock down.
And you have the top guys being taken a step down, courtesy of Aussie Open, 1 year to the day at WrestleDream, and becoming the new AEW World Tag Team Champions. Crowns up. This is going to be match of the night. I guarantee you. There's no way in hell this is a match of the night at this point. It's got to be. All right. Well, at this point, I mean, who am I kidding? This is fucking AEW. They always freaking blow my mind. Let's go ahead and talk about this match that definitely blew our mind. As you always play that music, and I don't give a damn if you play it here because I'm not copyrighted and I'm also not monetized. Because what the fuck? Eddie Kingston at this moment defending the Ring of Honor World and NJPW Stronghold Championships against the Ring of Honor Pure Champion, the definition of pure strong style versus King's Row. It doesn't get more honorable than this. Katsuyori Shibata, who, by the way, is still the most dominant Ring of Honor Pure Champion in recent memory, and has yet to use a single rope break. But this is not pure rules. This is truly a double title bout, but only one man is risking all of their gold in a clash of styles on a showcase of honor with two men with nothing but respect for each other. This is something going to be very special and unique. Could Katsuyori Shibata become literally a triple crown champion? King, this is Katsuyori Shibata. You play
know
for a reason. You watch this guy. We talk about him verbatim. There's a reason why I literally saved you to talk about this match. When Shibata came back to wrestling, we thought it wasn't even going to be possible. He went after the AEW National Title Dream match against Orange Cassidy. Fell short. He turned a catch-as-catch-can exhibition into a traditional wrestling match in New Japan Pro Wrestling with a new NJPW World on the horizon in autumn. And we end an era and start a new one. And we wonder what scope that sentence and those words really hold in fruition. What do you have regarding Katsuyori Shibata and this double championship encounter, first time ever singles encounter?
Man, I'm torn. Because
I
have the utmost respect for both men. And with Eddie crowning his most achievement in New York by walking out with both the new Ring of Honor World Champion while still retaining the NJPW Strong Openweight Championship. But it's like, do you want to make him lose the title this quick? I don't want to put Eddie Kingston and transitional champion in the same sentence. I don't, because I feel like this is basically we're giving him this moment because this is New York. So, like,
they're not in New York here.
Exactly, they're in Seattle. I'm going with my gut. Eddie's going to beat Shibata. He's going to retain both titles because Shibata's title is not on the line.
No. And I dare say I don't know who the hell is going to take that title from him. As he said, even if his phone translated for him, he wants to become the greatest rear bar per champion in this company history. While Eddie Kingston holds the title in the name of his great hero, R.I.P. Xavier, who held it for 182 days, and he held it across 5 defenses, including against the likes of Jerry Briscoe, AJ Styles, and Paul London, before losing it to Samoa Joe.
Yep. So, and plus, Eddie Kingston said he wants to be a champion. He wants to be a fighting champion. I mean, him and Rocky Romero, which, spoiler alert, they will be fighting for the NJPW Strong Openweight Championship on Rampage this Friday. He wants to be a fighting champion, which is why he doesn't do independent bookings no more, and because of the injury he's nursing as well. And plus, he signed a multi-year deal. Eddie Kingston's a made man.
Congrats to him.
So that's why I feel like, now that I put it like that, it's like an Alex Shelley situation. Like, he signed his deal, got the Impact World Championship.
After 20 years, but yes.
And it's like, now it's like that Alex Shelley vibe here, but Eddie Kingston signed a multi-year extension and he got the Ring of Honor World Championship. Yeah, I can say Eddie being Shibata, as much as I hate to say it like that. But these two are going to go through the ringer, and then these two will put each other to the test for that man in the center.
Damn right. Hey, again, Katsuyori Shibata will literally be knocked out before he taps out. And I think it's going to come down to that. It was a problem this, and similar to that great banger opener with Eddie Kingston and Konosuke Takeshita. Both men knocked each other the fuck out. Eddie Kingston fell on the cover.
It wouldn't surprise me.
I think that's literally the end result here. At the end of the day, both men still hold strong towards what they believe in. Eddie Kingston still comes out double champion. I do think Eddie Kingston wants this more and also needs this more. I'm just going to leave it at that. But this is going to be a very, very interesting match. I can't wait. All these matches are, for Pete's sake. And again, he still has announced matches for the Zero, which we don't know. And for those that are part of the All Elite League, like me and my bro here, stay tuned for the forum. I will be putting it out live after Collision, because I know Madman Tony Khan will probably have a match announced that damn night. Because why not, right? That's what he does.
That's
you know
what
that.
He does best.
You know that.
Yep. I follow the notification.
Unless, with all due respect, please, I think this would be more wise, announce the matches Friday night. Just saying.
We'll see what he does strategically with that. We'll see what he does.
Fair enough. You know what? I'm not going to hold anything to that. That's too damn long. But I know people. Should I hold out to after Collision, or should I just do it Friday night?
Hold out to Collision, because we, like you said, we know how Tony can get. Hold out to Collision after Collision.
Yeah, because sometimes the 0 hour matches can actually go either way. Who would have thought? Speaking of matches going either way, I know that we believe that the house may always win, but again, I am torn considering both these women's incredible, strong presence in AEW. Stats been where it's at, but Julia Hart right now is on an unstoppable streak of violence. As the TBS Championship will be on the line so far, and the only women's contest in this entire pay-per-view, as Chris Statlander, who is undefeated since coming back at Double or Nothing and dethroning that bitch and beating her in a rematch and even overcoming the last number DMD 2, takes on Julia Hart, who has been unstoppable and is finally returning to singles action with the help and guidance of one Brody King, recently overcoming bouts against Kiara Hogan, Sky Blue, and Willow Nightingale. And has proven not only can she win via submission, she can win via pinfall with a beautiful top rope moonsault. We always say the house always wins in context, but this is Julia Hart's first real chance at a championship since her evolution as this heartless entity, and probably one of the strongest, if not the strongest character in the AEW women's division. But Stat's been where it's at ever since she came back, like I said, from injury. Ever since being a Jade Cargill Double or Nothing, why people might think her reign might have been underneath everything else, she has been involved defending this title in main events on AEW Dynamite and also at pay-per-views. She's been more showcased with this championship in a quicker span than Jade Cargill was, and they've actually given her more caliber competition, in my opinion, and she is original that is still growing 6 years in AEW. She's so far held this championship for 123 days across, get this, 11 defenses. Nyla Rose, Tyra Valkyrie, Lady Frost, Mercedes Martinez, Ruby Soho, Emi Sakura, Anna Jay, Robin Renegade, Ruby Soho, Jade Cargill, most recently Dr. Baker, DMD. She has been an unstoppable streak of singles victories. But Julia Hart has not lost a singles match now in over 25 singles matches straight, and has never been a champion yet in AEW. And since the trios titles are no longer in the House of Black, the focus is now focused on Julia Hart strictly. And again, she now honors the House of Black. If there's going to be a unique upset or a unique outcome on this entire card, when you consider what the Mist might have done to Willow Nightingale or One Sky Blue, who got sprayed in the face this past Saturday too, this would be the match. Imagine a fierce women trio led by Julia Hart as TBS champion. But to counter that point, Stat has been where it's at, and she literally has said she will take on anyone, anytime, anywhere. But after what we saw Wednesday night on Dynamite, this literally is her most dangerous adversary to date for her AEW TBS title career. King, where do you stand? Does the house always wins, or does Chris once again prove why she is the TBS champion?
I'm like you. I'm torn as well. Because Stat, ever since she's been back, has been a great TBS champion ever since taking that title from Jade. But also Julia has been right on that momentum of undefeated, as it took a pinfall. And basically, she's been built up as being a championship threat.
May I add, by the way, she's an AEW original 3 years in her career. She's literally been a part of this thing since 2021. She only had a few matches under her run in 2019, 2020 on the Indies.
And that's when she was a varsity blonde cheerleader.
Correct.
So basically, like, we watched the evolution of Julia go from varsity blondes to House of Black, and the evolution of her character and the evolution of her wrestling style is more aggressive than ever.
Yep.
And it's like with Stat, she's more than a woman, and she's stronger and better than ever.
Yep. Someone's eating an L here, or this goes to a time limit draw if you're lucky.
Since you said that.
Which hasn't happened yet in TBS title history, but has happened in TNT title history.
And it's also happened in regular match history. Let's not forget Grand Slam Dynamite between Omega and Danielson.
Oh, God.
But I feel like this could be used here, in my opinion, because both women cannot afford to lose. If with Statlander, if she beats Julia, who's next for her? If Julia beats Statlander, it could possibly open up a new challenges. But if they if they both take the draw, and just to protect their win streak, we could have this match down the road.
I'm just gonna say this real quick as we enter the month of October, the month of weird and dark things. I don't think Julia Hart plays games, but she definitely can work the mind. It would not surprise me if this is not a one-up. This is Julia Hart's biggest test to date in her career. Why? For Chris Statlander, it's the biggest chance to show what it means for her to be champion in her AEW career. Again, these are two true AEW originals in a pay-per-view match for the TBS Championship. It's a very big spot for both these young women, especially the youngest member of the entire AEW Women's roster, Julia Hart. So again, with Brody King there also in the corner, that's got to be considered an X factor. We saw what happened. There was the buck up, and again, didn't touch him. But we know Chris Statler's no stranger to intergender warfare. So again, it's one of those things where I could really see there being a title change with the presence set by Julia Hart literally in her AEW career. And with the house right now literally falling short for the Trios Championships after their phenomenal run of 25 weeks, I think Chris has set a precipice for an AEW original to carry this banner, but maybe somebody else needs to. It's one of those things where I am torn. I'm not sure how to feel right now. I think both women deserve to be called champion, but that has been where it's been at. And I want that to continue to the long haul because besides Jimmy Hayter, Chris Statler is your powerhouse in the AEW women's division.
I miss that woman.
This is going to be a very pinnacle match for the future of the TBS Championship, and there may not be no turning back. So good luck to both. That's all I'm going to leave it there. Well, again, this pay-per-view that honors Antonio Inoki, where the strongest spirit will thrive, truly show what it means to you to be above all, standing in victory. It doesn't get more personified in this when it comes to proving you're the absolute best, as we now look at King, what I think has to be the first match announced in what has to be this pay-per-view's main event. For we are going to witness a match that was supposed to happen the first time the forbidden door was open. Now we look at WrestleDream, where we are on the precipice of a new era beginning and one ending, including the fact that the American Dragon Bryan Danielson is on his final odyssey. Does it have a strong beginning, or does it have an abrupt ending? Here we fucking go. Bryan Danielson goes one-on-one, the American Dragon, against the unstoppable since Wrestle Kingdom, leader of TMDK, the current NJPW World Television Champion, Zack Sabre Jr., in what truly will prove who is the best technical wrestler on the fucking planet. And Bryan Danielson has made it be known now officially, this is his odyssey. If he's going to go down, he's going down in a blaze of glory, as he promised to his daughter. He will be a father. And come next year, the American Dragon will be done with professional wrestling. This is truly once in a lifetime of this magnitude. But like Liger, who lost both his last matches in his career, still ended on a happy note, giving the fans what they want. Zack Sabre Jr. still far from done. How does it affect him if he loses the American Dragon Bryan Danielson? And keep in mind, he's also facing Will Ospreay for the IWGP United Kingdom Heavyweight Championship at Royal Crown 3, but, I'm just saying. Holy shit, this is professional wrestling. From Owen Hart to Chris Benoit to Eddie Guerrero versus Chris Jericho to the British Bulldog versus Bret Hart to Katsuyori Shibata versus freaking Ren Narita. This screams everything for being the greatest technical wrestling match we've ever seen. Considering Bryan Danielson coming back from a right wrist injury after being Kazuchika Okada. King, where do you stand on this? Who wins between the American Dragon Bryan Danielson and who could be very well the best technical wrestler going today, Zack Sabre Jr.?
This is going to be a technical masterclass between both of these men. Like you just alluded to, we were supposed to have this on Forbidden Door, but Bryan suffered an injury before the event, and that's what brought Claudio in to join the Blackpool Combat Club. Man, who really wants this? Is basically who really wants this as the best technical wrestler between both of these men. We know what Zack can do. We know what Bryan can do. They're ultimate technicians in the ring. Their submissions game is always on point, unreal. It's going to be a lot of counters.
Oh yeah,
a lot of submissions.
And we know Zack Sabre Jr., he's also been testing himself as strong. He says strong style is dead, long live Sabreism. Zack Sabre Jr., who's 19 years in the game, trained by the likes of Marufuji Ogawa Joe Ryan. And also, this is their third ever singles encounter. The first one was back in 2008. Bryan Danielson won. It was 2 out of 3 falls, 2-1. It went for 25 minutes. In 2009, they faced off again in WXW. Zack Sabre Jr. beat Bryan Danielson in 13 minutes. They haven't met each other since.
And now when you put it like that, they're 1-1.
That is correct.
But it's like, but with Bryan, what amazes me is that he came out of basically a broken forearm 10 weeks. And he's just working it like basically nothing even happened.
After 2 strap matches, might I add, one turned into a Texas death match against Absolute Ricky Starks. Just saying. And this was after he already exaggerated that arm while wrestling with it, might I add, in that state for 10 fucking minutes, submitting Kazuchika Okada.
So if anything,
hasn't been done since Shinsuke Nakamura.
Exactly. If anything, this one's going to be a close one. This one is going to give me this match is also going to give me one of those where I'm going to be up and down and biting my teeth.
I can't believe I get to call this shit.
But I'm going to go with Danielson here. Danielson is going to get that basically. Danielson is going to make Zack Sabre tap out.
Oh.
He's going to be the one to do it. Whether that be in a heel hold, the bell lock. Either way, Bryan's going to type out ZSJ.
Someone else we haven't seen, maybe cow mutilation.
Yeah.
Yeah, he hasn't used that for a while, but again, how many submissions does Zack Sabre Jr. have? From the cross arm breaker to the Jim Breaks arm bar to the senior stretch to the freaking orienting with Napalm Dev to a long way from home to Clarky Cat. I mean, again, it also could come down to something as simple as not simple. Who the fuck am I kidding? I can't do this shit. But you know, Zack Sabre Jr. can win with the freaking clutch, whether it's European clutch, the double leg Nelson. We saw what happened between him and Sonata at Wrestle Kingdom for the British Heavyweight Championship, and he was one of the most dominant British Heavyweight Championships in Rep Pro history.
Exactly.
This is going to be a master class. This is just going to be something special. And if Aubrey Edwards is the official for this rep, I don't think Aubrey Edwards is going to know what the fucking do for herself.
Nope. No one that
Seattle native might I add, who literally saw Bryan Danielson retire in WWE. She is crying girl, if you know what I mean. And talk about going full circle. How about full career fandom perspective for Aubrey Edwards, if that's the freaking case? I'm just saying. Again, Zack Sabre Jr., by the way, he's been NJPW World Television Champion for 267 days, 14 successful defenses, including the likes of Roger Romero, Jeff Cobb, AR Fox, Satoshi Kojima, Wio Ora, Metalik, and of course, your boy, the Fallen Angel, Christopher Daniels, and Philly Tom Lawler.
Yeah, but before we close it out, I'm glad you mentioned Tom Lawler, but it's not in a good way.
What's up?
Originally, if Mox would have not got concussed, it would have been Jon Moxley defending the AEW International Championship at WrestleDream against Filthy Tom Lawler. Now that's twice that Tom Lawler
is fucked again.
Yep, this is now twice that Tom Lawler either opponent gets sick or injured.
That guy can't catch a fucking break. Just give him a damn obby. Just book him on the show, for Pete's sake. Golly. Yeah, all I know is this is going to be something truly special. Again, it is a first. We don't know what to truly expect to an extent from this pay-per-view. What will be our biggest takeaway, too, heading into Dynamite's 4th year, might I add, of literally AEW content. They celebrate 4 years this coming Wednesday, too. And what truly ends and what truly begins. All this and more, hopefully, and we'll see if the house always wins. All this and more, hopefully, will be answered as we honor in Tokyo Inoki 1 year later at the first ever WrestleDream. One thing's for sure, King, we are in for one hell of a pay-per-view. I cannot wait for this fucking shit, too.
See me over here shimmying, I've been waiting for this pay-per-view for a while.
And hella go get the vibe going. You know what I mean? Of course, we'll be back here on the next review impromptu, literally covering our own afterthoughts and our look back at this last year in AEW as they celebrate their anniversary and see what gets known officially by Madman Tony Khan. So we'll be back here, folks, with you next week, Wednesday night after AEW too. But until then, I think this is now what we will bid you a fine adieu. Hey, record time, I was about right, 2 hours. We hope you all enjoyed the. We hope you all enjoyed the conversation. As always, we are ATW, we are AEW. We love professional wrestling, and we only want to see it grow, escalate, support, respect it, and look at a further scope too. Again, shout out to the entire ATW family on the Twitter and our social media platforms. Check out the entire ATW View playlist on my Simple YouTube channel at A Simple Man's Brand. And you can always follow me on YouTube, on the Twitter, at nfoster1916 for all things wrestling. Please follow my friend Amara Jade, who continues her wrestling career a little bit over a year in the making, as she always proves that Jade is worth more than gold. More power to you, my friend. Cheers across the pond. Follow the entire multiverse of media as well. We're just a great family that loves all things entertainment and professional wrestling. Damn it. And again, on behalf of the entire ATW crew and the WWF Media too, we thank all of you. Please follow the Renegade JJ Williams and Cast AG Studios. Stay tuned for the Saturday Night Shenanigans. That's me and him. We'll cover, of course, NXT No Mercy, not my NXT, and AEW Wrestle Dream, but I digress. And again, it should be a fun conversation, as of course this Friday, I'm the Madman. Also tomorrow, I'll be a part of NODQ's version of their predicting, but of course, my YouTube channel has Simply Predicting. And there'll be both NXT No Mercy and Wrestle Dream Simply Predictings later on this weekend as Wrestling 2023 continues to unfold. So stay tuned for more of that as well, because I have no rest, but I love this industry so much, and I am a madman. But that being said, King, always a pleasure. We definitely done more of these impromptus. Hey, you see what we're doing with impromptus? We have more conversations about AEW and other stuff too. It's becoming more of a regular thing regarding these pay-per-views and specials. So I don't know if we're going to continue this 2024, but we'll see how ATW continues to evolve from a fandom, from a journey perspective, and from a coverage perspective too. Always a pleasure, bro. Anything you want to promote, where can people find you?
Y'all know where to find me on the Twitter. AMT, Roman numeral 23. Same thing on Threads. People still follow on Threads. Same thing on Instagram, but the dot is afterwards, after the Roman numeral 23. There you go.
There you go. It's as simple as that. And always as simple as that with me, as I always like to say, for what am I but a simple man and a lifelong fan of professional wrestling, damn it! But I digress. As I always wish to encourage you that there are no winners, there are no losers, there are no betters. Just fans with opinions for this passion we all share. So at the end of the day, folks, support one another, respect each other, protect your mentality too. Treasure your families and just enjoy life and enjoy professional wrestling. It's truly as simple as that. With that being said, again, thank you so much for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, comment, tell a friend. Hit the bells if it goes live on demand on this channel or any of the YouTube channels of the entire W crew or the WWF Multiverse of Media too. Hit the subscribe button. I assure you our creative content is not going to be out of time soon. We talk about AEW Dynamite's 4th year anniversary. This will be my 5-year anniversary in YouTube content creativity coming up next month in October too. I thank all of you. But until next time, I think my voice is going out, and I do have to work too. So let's go ahead, do the work. Let's go ahead, power it down. Let's go ahead and catch some Z's, GTS, go to sleep, play some games, do some other stuff too. Always a pleasure, bro. Always a pleasure, YouTube. But until then, on behalf of the entire ATW crew, and also shout out to, of course, my favorite, who I hope to see out of the Dawn face in a trick or treat fight the bunny. Yay, Allie. But I digress. I bid you all a fine adieu. I got through it. Yay. Until next time, goodbye. Ha, Eric. Ha. Goodbye. And good freaking night. Bang. For we are ATW. Have a good night, folks. Good grief almighty. AEW, you need to tone it down. This is becoming a bit crazy. But hey, at least I went through one show about freaking Eric pissing me off.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, I know that's not going to hold up. All right, Gato.